Hey y'all, Pastor Bob here. I'm gonna jump into the hot water with you a little bit right now. It's kind of hot on YouTube, online. Everyone's talking about women in ministry. Obviously at Midtown Church, where I'm a pastor, we have a female co-lead pastor. We have a female executive pastor. We believe in women in ministry. We're egalitarian. I know there's a lot of complementarians out there and they are loud online. So I'm gonna jump into hot water and just say a couple things about one of the verses that's talked about the most. I'm in 1 Corinthians 14, starting at verse 33. It says, "For God is not a God of confusion, but of peace, as in all the churches of the saints." Then Paul goes on to say this line that gets overquoted: "The women should keep silent in the churches, for they are not permitted to speak, but should be in submission, as the law also says." Now, can I just say this? We already know that cannot be a universal command. It's impossible, because about 3 paragraphs later, Paul says in verse 37, he says in verse 39, "So my brothers and sisters earnestly desire to prophesy and do not forbid speaking in tongues." He also says in 1 Corinthians 11, he affirms women praying and prophesying in church, but at that point, because of something that's going on culturally, he asked them to have their head covered. So Paul affirms women speaking authoritatively in church in many places. But here, when he says that, he has to be speaking to something specific. We may or may not know exactly what that is, but it's a whole lot more to that verse than just saying, there it is, it's wooden literal, women shouldn't speak. It's absolutely incorrect. You got to read scripture in light of scripture. We're going to go through a few of these other scriptures too, where there's a lot of debate, and for sure, Paul is forbidding something, but we have to find out why he's forbidding it, and more than likely, it's usually something to do with either the Corinthians themselves or the Greek culture itself.